Hello, and welcome to the Marriage Clinic. My name is Rafee, and I'm here to be your host in this series where we're going to delve into dysfunctional relationships or problematic relationships, why they are the way they are, as well as how to make them better. Now, before I begin, just a little personal reflection is that me being in this line of work, I've got my training in marriage and family therapy. It's really frustrating when I see couples that are in really bad places because I know that the little things that could have been fixed earlier on in the relationship that weren't addressed, and so years later it ends up into really resentful relationships where both partners feel resentment towards each other, a lot of criticism, a lot of different issues that could have been eliminated early on if they were addressed. So that's kind of the goal of this series. It's to help you guys to understand some of those little things that can grow up into big issues. Now, I have two audiences in this. One is couples that are in distress, right? I want to help you guys learn some of the facets of relationships, some of the cycles that can emerge and how to deal with them and how to address them. It's also for clinicians or therapists, specifically therapists that weren't trained in marriage and family therapy. Now, I know I'm going to upset a lot of my fellow marriage and family therapist colleagues by doing this series because I am actually going to be going over a lot of our quote-unquote trade secrets, right? These are things that we went to school for, graduate school, and we're trained in. We've paid tens of thousands of dollars to learn some of the material that I'm going to be talking about. And for that sake, I already know that some people have already talked to me about my desire to do this. And I completely understand that they wouldn't want me to be sharing some of the things we learned. Because, unless you have some of these expensive textbooks, you're not going to know a lot of the things that I'm going to be sharing here. But here's my approach to it, so hear me out. The idea is that, as it is, most people already don't know what marriage and family therapists are, right? When we introduce ourselves, people are like, oh, you're a marriage and family therapist. I didn't know that was a particular thing. So, we need more public outreach. People need to understand what is marriage and family therapy and to understand that we are our own specialty, right? We have our own licensing. We're licensed under the state by all 50 states. And we have a very unique training, and people don't know that. So this is one way to educate the public about some of the things that we're trained in to help them know what we do and why we can be a benefit to them. Second of all, right, there's already non-marriage and family therapists. By the way, I'm going to refer to marriage and family therapists as MFTs. That's what we are. We have, after our name, it says LMFT if we're licensed. I'm currently just finished my graduate school training. I did my internship where I've seen clients for over 700 hours of individual couples and family therapy. But my point here is that a lot of non-MFTs are already doing couples work, right? They're already seeing couples. They're already doing counseling or therapy with couples. And a lot of them, they're probably not doing it in the best way because they weren't trained in the way that we were trained. They're trained in other ways, right? Clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors, psychologists, they all have their own specialties that help them understand issues that people go through in a particular way. And we have our own particular way that we're trained in. And so my point is, if they're already seeing couples, they might as well do a better job with it. Or if you're, this is to help you if you're not an MFT. That being said, I don't really think it's going to harm our profession, right? That's what some of the concerns were that were brought to me. I think that ultimately at the end of the day, right, this is where I'm going to kind of vouch for marriage and family therapists, that if you're looking to get help in your couple's relationship, I would recommend going to see a licensed marriage and family therapist. This isn't to say that a professional counselor or a social worker or whoever else won't do a good job, but on average, I would say that a marriage and family therapist would do a more thorough or comprehensive job at marriage counseling because, that's what we go to school for, right? So that's my point. I don't think this is going to hurt our profession. I'm going to try to keep some of, I'm not going to go super in depth, but I'm going to share some of the important things that both clinicians as well as couples should know. So what am I going to be covering? Well, one is I'm just going to be covering some general wisdoms that I learned in my work with couples. Beyond that, I want to show couples some of the best practices, right, of how to maintain a healthy relationship, as well as how to identify the core issues in problematic relationships, right? A lot of times we're in these frustrating relationships and we don't know why they are the way they are. That's when a lot of blaming comes in, and we feel a lot of frustration, a lot of negativity. We feel like our needs aren't being met. And I want to give you some hope that once you understand why things are the way they are, they become much more manageable, and give you and empower you to make a difference in your relationship. That's also why it's frustrating when I see couples falling apart, because I know that, not that all couples are meant to stay together, but a lot of them could avoid a lot of the pain that they experience if they knew some little things earlier on. So, in terms of content, two main things I'm going to be covering. One is common cycles and patterns that emerge in relationships, right? As marriage and family therapists, we're trained in systemic models of therapy. So what does that mean? Systemic means that when we look at an issue that a person is experiencing, we try to understand that issue in context of the people surrounding that person. And usually those tend to be close family members, right? It can be parents, spouse, children, siblings, even close friends will also come into the picture. So we try to understand how it is that this issue is being affected, as well as kind of perpetuated through the dynamics that we share with other people. And I want to be very particular about that. It's through the dynamics and the relationships with others. It's not a field where we try to blame who's at fault. Oh, this person's doing this, and that's why you're that way. It's not about that person. It's about the dynamic between you and that person. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that comes out that I'm really excited to get into in this series. If you're interested in this stuff, watch my videos, give me your feedback. I'd love to hear what you think. And I really think that you guys are going to learn a lot of interesting stuff. So beyond the common cycles and patterns, I'm also going to be talking about the remedies, right? How do you address these patterns when they emerge? Obviously, I don't want to show you what the problem is. I want to show you how to deal with it. So that's that. And then as a part of this, I'm going to be doing a high-level overview of a lot of the different models of therapy that we're trained to use as MFTs, right? Things like cognitive behavioral therapy for couples, emotionally focused therapy. We'll talk about Gottman therapy. Object relations therapy is a favorite of mine. We're going to be talking about that, as well as some other ones. There's narrative therapy for couples, etc., etc. So I'm going to talk about the ones that I feel comfortable with, and then as I do more research and get more comfortable in other models that I'm not as strong in, I'll be happy to share those as well. So that's the other part I'm covering. And lastly, right, every therapist over the course of their work develops their own personal philosophy of therapy, right? And this is our own ways of approaching therapy that we think work for our couples or for our clients. So I want to use this as an opportunity to share what's worked for me, so that way you guys can take from it what you think is beneficial and leave what you think isn't. So that's that. I want to make this video short, so I'm not going to go on too much more about this. Watch the rest of my videos, give me your feedback, and I'd love to hear what you think, and I hope you enjoy and that your relationships and your clinical work all improve the result of this work. Okay, take care. Bye.